Today, we have the reading of the meeting minutes of April 2nd, 2025. Does anyone have any changes, corrections to the minutes? Commissioner Conaway.
Move that we adopt the meeting minutes of April 2nd, 2025.
I second the motion.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimous vote. The meeting minutes are approved. We have time for public comment. Mr. Brua? Raj, you want to make any public comment?
You're on the
I
spot.
mean, there must be a reason for your presence. Welcome back.
Nice to be back. No comments. Great.
Wow.
Wow,
That's
that's
a
a
good thing. Good thing. Sit down.
court reporter. Would the court reporter please make special note of that? Thank you, Raj. Best wishes, obviously.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
May I please make just one comment?
Oh, absolutely.
Unless there's other public members from the public. I just want to take a moment to recognize and acknowledge and thank Delmarva Power. Yesterday evening, Councilwoman Xanthia Oliver from Wilmington City Council coordinated a meeting where she invited her community to come to the Hope Commission facility so that they could meet with the customer service representatives from Delmarva Power. They brought their utility bills. They were all given numbers, set up in a theater type session setting, and there were at least 50 people who came in and out of the facility while I was there. And they were getting an explanation of what comprised and built their bills, what kind of payment options they have to stretch out payments, as well as LIHEAP opportunities. So I just want to acknowledge and thank Councilwoman Oliver and thank Delmarva Power for the effort. It was very well received. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Gray. We have the consent agenda. Does anyone have any item that wishes to, Commissioner Gray?
I'd like to move that the commission adopt the consent agenda as submitted.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimously approved. The regular agenda. Number one is in the matter of the application of Artesian Water Company, Inc. for an increase in water-based rates. We've got proposed order number 10680, and we have Mr. Spate here, along with Ms. Courtney Emerson for Artesian Water Company. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Winslow and Commissioners. I'm Courtney Emerson here on behalf of Artesian Water Company, and I'm joined today by Dave Spake, our CFO. Today, we respectfully request that the Commission enter order number 10680, opening the docket in docket number 25-0346, which is a base rates case filed by Artesian on April 4th, 2025. The order appoints Glenn Kenton as the hearing examiner, approves the form of public notice, establishes July 31st as the date by which petitions to intervene need to be filed, and authorizes Artesian to file for interim rates to be considered later by the Commission. We would like to thank staff for its work in preparing this order and respectfully request that the Commission approve the order.
Thank you very much, Ms. Emerson. We now have Kate Workman.
Hi, Kate Workman for staff. Staff supports the order. At this time, it doesn't change any rates. It's just opening up the process for the rate case to start, and staff recommends that the Commission approve Order 10680.
Thank you very much. Ms. Price? Mr. Cutler?
No objection from the public advocate.
Thank you. Commissioners, you have any questions? Commissioner Conaway?
I move that we adopt proposed order number 10680, opening the docket.
I second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimously passed. Thank you very much, Ms.
Thank you.
Emerson, Mr.
Thank you.
Spate. Number two is in the matter of the application of Chesapeake Utilities Corporation for approval of a change in its gas sales service rates. And we have proposed order 10683, and we have Mr. O'Brien. Welcome, Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you, Chair Winslow and Commissioners. Bill O'Brien on behalf of Chesapeake Utilities Corporation. So what you have before you is Chesapeake's request for you to waive the requirement in its tariff to file for an interim rate change due to a projected undercollection of its gas sales service rate, or GSR. So our undercollection just recently moved over 6%. And under the tariff, we're required to come in and change the GSR to start to work through that undercollection a bit by raising the GSR rate, unless we get a waiver. So similar to the request you saw last meeting from Delmarva Power, we're asking that you waive that because we are so late in the GSR year and we're coming up on the warmer months. It really wouldn't put a dent in the undercollection, and it's a lot of extra work for staff and DPA to go through the filing. So for those reasons, we ask that you adopt order number 10683, which would grant this waiver.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. I will note this is the first time I remember that 3 executive directors are in the same room. Whatever significance that is. Okay, Kate Workman again, please.
A Workman for staff. Staff supports the order. Essentially, the company is supposed to be filing to raise their rates, and instead this waiver is going to not make that happen. They're going to stay the same. So this is not going to raise any rates, and it's better for the consumer. And staff supports the petition and recommends the commission order number 10683.
Thank you, Ms. Kate. Mr. Workman. Mr. Crumpler.
DPA supports the order as well.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Commissioner Drexler?
I move that we adopt order number 10683 as presented.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimously approved.
Thank you, Chair. With your permission, I just got one more note to make. Marie Kozel, this is her last meeting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so she's been with the company 17 and a half years. She's been a fixture here at the commission for a large portion of that. So she is leaving the company. So today's her last meeting. I just wanted to recognize that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Best wishes to you, Ms. Kozel. Yeah,
Thank you.
gosh. Next is the hearing schedule. The first matter we have is the matter of the adoption of rules and regulations to implement the provisions of Title 26, Section 203F of the Delaware Code relating to renewable energy interconnection facilities. And we have Kate Workman again.
Kate Workman for staff again. Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. Regulation docket number 67 was opened on January 14th of this year to promulgate rules and regulations to govern certificates of public convenience and necessity for the siting of renewable energy connection facilities pursuant to 26 Delaware Code 203F, which was signed into law on September 5th, 2024. The regulations are going to be codified at 26 Delaware Admin Code 3014. In summary, the new regulation is modeled after other CPCN regulations to create a comprehensive and fair system that will protect the interests of the public and businesses seeking to build renewable energy facilities. In accordance with order number 10643, signed by the Commission on January 29th, 2025, staff published public notice and the proposed regulation in the April Register of Regulations, which came out April 1st, and on the Commission website. The public notice set the hearing for today, April 23rd, as the date for the public hearing, and required that comments be received by April 16th, 2025 to be considered at the hearing. To date, staff has received no comments. Today, no decision on this regulation is going to be made because 29 Delaware Code 10118, following today's hearing, we have to keep the public comment session open for another 15 days. And so we are not going to close that until May 13th, 2025. So the public still has a chance to write in comments until May 13th, after which the commission will consider any comments and determine the appropriate course of action, whether we should adopt the rules, repeal the rules, or amend the rules. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much for the explanation. Is there anyone here from the public that wishes to make comment on PSC docket number regulation 67? Okay, look out. Did anybody get run over? Okay, maybe there will be some more enthusiasm for this docket later. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Okay, Commissioner Gray?
Not sure we should take any actions today.
All we need to do is close the hearing.
Okay, in that case, I guess I can close, the hearing's closed. And I guess that is also the end of the matter scheduled for the hearing. And we now have an update from Commissioner Drexler on matters pertaining to the organization of PJM states.
I'll only take 20 or 25 minutes to talk about it. So 2 weeks ago, Tricia Gannon, Nate Felsman, and our consultant Eric Matheson and I traveled to Chicago to attend the Organization of PJM States meeting, the OPSI spring meeting. And, you know, when we get together, when we have board meetings, whenever there's a call, it's typically about an issue, a problem, you know, what we think PJM is doing right, what they're doing wrong, how we can improve capacity planning, how we can improve the queue. You know, is PJM moving quickly enough? Are projects being onboarded? What are we going to do about things like data centers? What are we going to do about the increase in demand for electricity going forward? And, you know, is PJM making the right moves? Are they doing the right thing? But what it comes down to is everybody is trying to do the right thing, but it's difficult for many reasons, particularly things like supply chain issues that are sort of a hangover from COVID are making it difficulty for new projects. You know, about 2 years ago, all we talked about was the queue, the queue, the queue, the queue. Are we getting generation through the queue? And it seems that, you know, PJM's made moves to make sure that projects are moving through the queue, but then you have to actually build those projects. So, for example, you've heard a lot about data centers and what's coming on board. You've heard about the Crane project in Pennsylvania. You've heard about co-location of generation next to a data center because, as one person mentioned in this meeting, some of these projects are so large that they compete with Pittsburgh for, you know, for power needs. You know, that's how large the needs might be. So really talking about capacity and planning is now, I think, more in the forefront even than getting projects through the queue was. So that's the kinds of things we talked about. There was a staff meeting on Sunday, and there was a lot of talk about the higher cost of you know, the bills, you know, the effect of the bills and what they're having. And so, you know, you're weighing these new projects and the ability to meet your capacity, but also having, you know, the responsibility for keeping costs reasonable. And so there's a lot that goes into it. And when you throw into that, you know, you may have a new project coming on board and then, you know, you need transmission for that. So you build transmission, you have to wait for that. And, you know, they say for some of these larger projects, it'll take 5 years to build, but your data center is going to be built in 18 months. So those are the kinds of issues we talk about specifically. So that's the challenge. The good news is there are so many technologies right now that are being considered. You know, things like changing out transmission lines from steel to aluminum, using AI, using Google AI to help PJM manage its queue and manage its planning, and things like that that can, that can really, really assist with better transmission, better planning, better, onboarding. And we did have a whole session as additionally about holistic planning, which is, as an example, would be when you close a plant, when you close the Indian River, when you close a plant, what do you have coming on board? And you need to coordinate those better because, as you may have heard, in Maryland and Delaware, we've closed plants, and you need to have generation to pick up that slack. And so that you need to better coordinate if something's going to be retired, you need the new generation, not to be planned, not to be in the queue, but to be built at the same time. So there's a lot of talk about that as well. So I think it was a really, really good meeting. And, PJM is the largest RTO in the country. We're talking about 15 states, and you're trying to coordinate the potential for wind in New Jersey, offshore wind, with the with the coal plants in West Virginia. So there are a lot of different sources of energy, and there are a lot of different requirements, and each state is so different. And when we try to coordinate, maybe it's 13 states, 15 states, and try to get everybody on the same page, it's nearly impossible, but we're trying. So it's a very, very busy board. There's a lot going on. PJM, as you know, or OPSI and PJM work with FERC. There's a lot going on with FERC right now. We are all trying to understand FERC Order 1920 regarding planning. And so those are the kinds of issues we look at. And so it was a very, very, very interesting meeting. And like, if you have questions, ask Tricia and Nate, because they were there the whole time taking good notes. And that was our meeting. Thank you. Any questions? Okay.
I would like to know, was there a discussion about the recent retirement of Manus Estama?
No, he did not announce his retirement at that meeting. His retirement was announced the following week. So I forgot to mention that. I was as surprised as anyone. I had dinner with him at that meeting, and not a word. So I do know he has a home in Texas and spends time there. So that was a surprise to me. So there will be a new CEO. And, Manu, who's the CEO currently of PJM, is very, very, very involved and very active on that board. He is in true control of the PJM board. He's a very involved CEO. So we'll see who's next. And that's what we're doing.
Thank you.
Nate, do you have anything to add? Okay. If you do, just let me know. Thank you. Oh, do you have any more questions?
Commissioner Drexler, thank you very much for your comments. The one thing she didn't say is the amount of frustration that's involved with some of these jobs and these opportunities to go to these meetings. And I would especially like to thank Trish, and then Nate's is early on it, but you need to have a lot of patience. Josh Bowman, of course, understands that, and all the staff does it. Things sort of work at a very slow pace, and it's also important, and it's frustrating because you've got national politics, you've got regional issues, and it's just very complex. But all we can do is to keep working at it. And I commend Commissioner Drexler and Nate and Trish for their fine efforts. Okay, we have also a legislative update, I assume, from
me, actually.
Okay.
Thank you,
Was
Chairman
it
Winslow.
worth the mother of the 1-year-old is going to be doing that or not?
I gave her the day off, and of course, she'll report to you in July, as she always does when the session is ended. And just to clarify, I think Trish is covering our Reggie call at the moment. So
That's correct. I forgot about that. Yeah.
anyway, so we've reached the halfway point essentially in the legislative season. They're taking 2 weeks off for their spring recess. And typically, as you know, there may be 1 or 2 bills which impact the commission, but that is not the case this year. There's about 8 in the hopper that may come and impact us. So I just wanted to run through those quickly, see if you had any questions and let you know where they stand. The first is Senate Bill 59, which would change the cost recovery standard that the commission uses from the business judgment rule to the prudence standard. That bill has passed the Senate and is awaiting a vote in the House. It went through a House committee as well. If that were come to pass and be signed by the governor, we would organize a training event for both commissioners and staff and the DPA, I suppose, to kind of understand what the rules of the road are in terms of reviewing these applications under a prudence standard versus the business judgment rule. But we haven't taken any action yet because the bill is not out there yet and completed. Senate Bill 60 prohibits utilities from recovering certain indirect costs, such as lobbying costs and some advertising expenses. And it also puts a cap on Delmarva Power's capital spending for the next 3 years. That has passed the Senate and is awaiting action in the House Energy Committee. Senate Bill 61 is a PJM voting transparency bill that would require Delmarva to report to the commission how they voted at PJM. That has also passed the Senate and is awaiting a House Energy Committee hearing. There's 2 proposed Senate resolutions which impact the commission. The first is from Senator Hansen. She's drafted a resolution that would require the commission to conduct a rate study. And this is related to the high bills in January and February and asks us to compare Delmarva's rates to the rates of the co-op and municipal systems in the state, and also ask for ideas to kind of mitigate rate shock in those situations during extremely hot or cold temperatures. So that bill has, or that resolution has not even been introduced yet. A second Senate resolution, which has been introduced, is concurrent resolution number 18 that would create a task force to study nuclear energy in Delaware. That names the chairman as a member of the task force. So that has passed the Senate and again is waiting action in the House Energy Committee. Next, there's a bill, House Bill 62, which would tighten the utility disconnection rules and make them slightly more stringent than we have in place today. That has passed the House and is waiting action in the Senate. House Bill 50 would create something called the Delaware Energy Fund to assist customers with making payments. And these would be customers who make more than they don't qualify for LIHEAP because they make too much money. So this is like the next level of payment assistance. That passed the House and is waiting consideration in the Senate. And finally, House Bill 116 would create a low-income fund for natural gas and electric customers. And that was just introduced last week in the House. So very busy for Sam and I this season in the legislature, but happy to answer any questions. And as I mentioned, Sam will come back in July with a full report in terms of what passed.
That on the LIHEAP legislation, was there any money suggested for that program, or is it just establishing a program, and how is it going to be funded?
So it's going to be funded by the alternative compliance payments that Delmarva has made to DENREC as part of their REC and SREC compliance, RPS compliance. And the bill sunsets in 3 years.
Any more questions? I'm assuming that the capital spending bill, the cap, the set was set in, I guess, without any staff objection. Do you think it's a reasonable cap?
We do. We suggested it. I know the company didn't agree necessarily. And there's also a bill that would institute a permanent spending cap, but that bill has not been introduced yet. And again, we've been talking to the company and their lobbyists regarding what that number should be.
Anybody else?
I'll just add a footnote. I have been asked by the governor to serve another term on the commission, and I anticipate that the Senate, in view of a confirmation required, will be in contact with me, so that may be another legislative vote.
Can't win them all, right, Matt? I'm just kidding for the record. This is Madam. Okay. Thank you very much, Matt. Yes, ma'am. Okay, now we have Delmarva Power and Light, and they're going to give us their affordability strategy framework, and I would like to start it off by expressing I'm not sure what the right word is, but have a seat and get comfortable. But the last meeting we had, I wasn't present, but I was present, but not here physically. And I wish I had been, because we had a lot of guests and people who were expressing their feelings on price of energy during the winter months of 24, 25, all of which I understood and appreciated, and the politics behind it. And there wasn't any effort made for us to make any explanation, et cetera, because it really wasn't the correct forum to have that discussion. But I would like to say that Delmarva, from the very beginning, and I guess it's the government relations people, as well as others, have really done yeoman's work to address the issue of cost. And I've seen a variety of things that have occurred, and more is happening, and more is happening legislatively, because, you know, people really don't understand. Most people really don't understand the mechanics. It's an emotional thing. They opened the bill, and I had a letter from a person. I called him today, and her question was, you know, why is my bill so high? So I told her why it was so high. She doesn't want to hear it. You know, they don't want to hear it. They just know that they opened up their bill, it was $358.71. And they make, you know, a very small amount of money. And, you know, she's 80 years old, and she keeps the temperature at 72. You know, it's really sort of I forget the biblical figure. Kate Workman probably remembers, pushing the stone up the hill. Who was that? Dionysus?
Sisyphus.
Sisyphus. Okay. Okay. Anyway, that's the situation we're in. So, but the bottom line is we have to try our best to help the consumers as much as we can. And I think everyone's committed to do that, especially I think Delmarva Power. And so with that, I'll let Perry and Amber come by and tell us what they want to tell us about this.
Thank you, Chair Winslow. Brian Jordan for Delmarva Power and Light Company. And today, to my immediate right, I'm joined by Amber Perry, Vice President for Regulatory Policy and Strategy. And then to my far right is Susan DeVito, Director of Pricing and Regulatory Services. And Ms. Perry will be discussing with the commissioners how Delmarva is addressing affordability. So with that, I will turn it over to Ms. Perry.
Mr. Jordan, so good afternoon, Chair Winslow and members of the commission. Thank you again for the time today to speak with you. As Brian Jordan already mentioned, my name is Amber Perry, Vice President of Regulatory Strategy and Policy for Delmarva Power. And today I want to take a little bit of time, I will be brief, and keep to my time here to talk a bit more about our affordability strategy. And I'll keep it fairly high level. We do want to come back and share some additional detail, but I do want to share some of the work that we have underway in progress now, short-term actions that we're taking and long-term actions that we're taking. Because as you've mentioned, and I appreciate Commissioner Drexler's comments about her meetings, this is certainly a very complex issue with many layers to it, and that the company is working through. So I know each of you have a set of slides in front of you, and then we also have the slides actually on the screen today, and I have some here in front of me. We're going to move first to slide 2, which is the overall affordability strategy. And I'd like to say first, we aim to manage rising energy costs. Our framework is designed to address these challenges head on by focusing on the energy security issue and cost management. We have several initiatives to manage rising energy costs. One of the most significant drivers of rising costs are really the PJM energy cost. Those are increasing, which is driving really a misalignment of supply and demand that was mentioned here a little bit earlier today. We are committed to partnering with the Public Service Commission, elected officials, and stakeholders on developing long-term solutions for this challenge. We are focused on smart investments that benefit customers and provide value while also evaluating affordability of that work that's underway, not only in the current environment, but also in the near term, as I mentioned, and also over the course of the next several years, because this is not a short-term challenge that we have ahead of us. I just want to mention some of the investments that we have made over the years. One was Indian River, which was necessary transmission upgrades that were completed 2 years ahead of schedule, allowing the Indian River Power Plant to discontinue its normal generation operations and saving our customers more than $100 million. Next, I'll just mention the cast iron replacement project. In 2006, we began replacing existing natural gas lines with new, more reliable, modern plastic pipes. The expected completion date for all replacements is 2027, 5 years ahead of schedule. Our LNG facility upgrades is the project that allows for the purchase of more natural gas during peak times, off-peak times, through increased storage capacity, helping manage cost and improve bill predictability for our customers. So these are just some of the things that we have had underway and will continue here in the near term. Lastly, we took a look to increase awareness in energy efficiency programs and our customer assistance programs, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a few more slides. And then we're also exploring innovative rate designs that are LMI focused. And this isn't just for LMI customers, but even more broadly than that. So we're really trying to think forward, just given the current environment that we're in. As we assess potential initiatives for rising cost mitigations, I wanted to emphasize that Delmarva Power benchmarks and leverages best practices from our sister utilities across Pepco Holdings and even more broadly Exelon, in addition to monitoring programs and regulations across the multiple jurisdictions within Exelon's footprint. So we're leveraging a lot to really bring the best that we can to the customers of Delmarva Power. Second, we are committed to increased customer communications, and each of you may have seen this over the last couple months. These efforts include continuing to expand our multi-channel customer and stakeholder communications, focused on assistance options and ways customers can save energy and money. We are committed to powering a brighter future for our customers and communities by serving and continue our focus on community impact and economic development in Delaware. We have also taken steps to educate our customers on their electric and gas bills, as was mentioned earlier as well, and really expanding our bill education overall as a company. And third, we will continue leveraging data and customer insights to monitor and measure the effectiveness of our initiatives, as we've outlined on the slide here. This includes continuous improvement to customer experience by leveraging feedback, data, and customer insights. Further analysis and the effectiveness of customer outreach programs to reach designated enrollment targets for our customers. And I know there were some questions a little bit earlier on LAHEAP. We do track data such as, customers that are enrolled in different funds, how many customers have received LAHEAP, and the balances of LAHEAP. And we have, data such as 1,000 customers were enrolled in the Delaware Utility Fund, receiving a monthly benefit that helps make their bill more affordable. Additionally, 7,000 customers were enrolled in LAHEAP, assisting customers with reducing and eliminating arrearages. So that was 8,000 customers who received $8.9 million in energy assistance benefits in 2024, with $7.7 million coming from LAHEAP. And so there are a lot of benefits that we want to just, highlight that are out there. Moving to slide 3, I would now like to speak to various actions and initiatives that we either have underway or we are proposing to soon begin our work underway that will impact what we're calling really energy security challenges. As you see on the slide, the initiatives are broken out between those recently completed or currently in progress versus those that are proposed short-term and long-term that we're currently evaluating and in implementation for. In progress initiatives are, as customers experienced high bills during the winter periods, we helped ease the burden of the higher bills by offering flexible payment plans, waiving late payment charges, and expanding other customer programs. As these extensions ended on 3/31 and with the anticipated increase in usage during the summer months, we are assessing and evaluating what additional programs we can make available to our customers here in the summer months. One example I do want to highlight and is an enhancement we're looking at for budget billing. So this will allow for more true-ups of our budget billing program that will shift the timing of the true-ups and then reduce the amount of the true-ups in the program. Today, really a best practice that we're looking at that we do have across our other utilities is a true-up that would be approximately 3 times a year. And that would actually reduce the true-up or the settlement of the budget billing. And I actually use budget billing myself. Budget billing is a good way for customers to have a flat bill, which is much more predictable, and there's no cost to them. Other actions that I've taken, I have an electric vehicle, and I plug my electric vehicle in at night, but I actually don't turn it on to charge until there's off-peak rates. And so there are all types of actions I think that we have available to our customers, and it's really up to us and our commitment to continue to educate and make our customers aware of these programs that are readily available to them. So we're making enhancements, making improvements to programs like budget billing, but also making sure that our customers are aware of them. So we do, every program's not for every customer. We do encourage customers to call our customer care center and really talk through their unique experiences and what may work well for them. I think there's a lot that's available, and then we will continue to look at expanding the programs that we offer. We've also made several other enhancements to increase our transparency and enhance engagement with customers around their bills. So we updated our website materials and increased community outreach efforts. We have our newly developed bill support landing page, which has garnered over 50,000 visits since its debut in December 2024. We increased agent availability to assist our customers, including extended Saturday hours to assist our customers with inquiries and their unique questions that they had on their bill. And then we have ongoing customer outreach efforts. We're doing a lot more on the ground and in communities to really reach our customers where they are and answer questions that they have, especially as we continue to see questions with affordability and all costs are rising really for our customers. So we want to make sure we're meeting our customers and we're in the communities with our customers. So to date, with the increased programs that we have, we've reached about 3,000 customers, and that's probably a number that's a little dated, maybe a month or so ago. In the short term, as you move across the slide here, slide 3, we are continuing just to be centered around strengthening our community presence, as I mentioned, and partnering with community-based organizations to educate our customers on rate increases and consumption impacts. And we'll continue to work with state and local agencies to make enrollment and other process improvements to aid our customers in the enrollment process into programs such as the Delaware Low Income Fund. So again, we're leveraging best practices. We're looking at different vendors that will help reduce hurdles and ensure consistency and sustainability of our customers when they are enrolled into these programs. So it's about awareness, education, but also our commitment to removing barriers for our customers when they're trying to just get on and enroll into these programs. We're also assessing innovative rate design, such as the LMI discount rate. We're looking at different time of use types of rates, again, leveraging a lot of best practices across our other jurisdictions, which will allow our customers, again, to benefit from peak and off-peak rates and allow them to really, proactively manage their bills and their usage so that they're more conscious consumers around their rates. Our long-term approach will include partnering with Delaware legislators on affordability initiatives, such as the low-income discount rate proposed by Representative Heffernan. Also exploring and evaluating new solutions such as enhanced weatherization programs, on-bill financing for energy upgrades, and expanding access to low and moderate income assistance programs to deliver long-term, sustainable, affordable benefits to our customers. And lastly, as discussed earlier, the prudent investments in new technologies, as well as establishing and really strengthening our energy efficiency programs, demand response, and storage opportunities. We're also looking at dynamic pricing options that will really help our customers better manage energy usage. So there are a lot of opportunities that we have underway. As I kind of went through, we're still looking to expand and strengthen, energy efficiency programs. We partner with Energize Delaware, and over the last year or so, we've done about 900 home energy assessments and saved customers over 1,000 megawatt hours of savings. So there's still a lot of opportunity for our customers to really enroll in and start that process with a quick home energy check. As I kind of conclude my remarks here today, I want to emphasize our unwavering commitment to affordability and customer support. We are dedicated to implementing innovative solutions and proactive strategies to ensure our customers can manage their energy costs effectively. We believe that through collaboration and transparency and continuous improvement, we can create a sustainable and equitable energy future for our customers. So, I really want to thank the commission and commission members, Chair Winslow, for your time today. We certainly look forward to working through many of the improvements and enhancements here. We certainly acknowledge and fully understand the challenges that are ahead, but we are here to better serve our community. So thank you for the time today.
Thank you very much, Ms. Perry. Very, very nice briefing. I appreciate it very much. Ruth Ann, do you have any questions or any observations?
Now that LIHEAP is no longer available to people, does the company have something to offer in substitute?
Well, I think some of the funds that we're looking at, Ruth Ann, as I mentioned, the fund that Senator Heffernan is putting forward, I think that's a good one, just the low income one. I do think that we're looking at tracking on additional energy assistance programs that will be out there because the LIHEAP was a pretty significant hit. So we're tracking on when will adjustments be made to something similar. But I think some of the recent legislative actions that are coming through are actually going to be very helpful in that space.
And would these programs go for the heating season, the cooling season as well as the heating?
That's what we're looking at, that it would cover both. Absolutely. We're looking at both sides for electric as well as gas for all of these programs for our customers, and being very sensitive to when are the high peaks of usage, where are the needs going to be for our customers, both for electric and gas.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Perry, I have a question also about LIHEAP. Is the issue with LIHEAP that it was fully drained in this cold winter?
It actually was not fully drained, and I do have those numbers. I don't know, Sue, if you have them. LIHEAP was not. The energy assistance, interestingly enough, energy assistance enrollments have decreased by 6% since last year. Of course, some of that was largely due to delays in the federal funds being received by the state. Delaware actually didn't receive their funds until October, and then I don't think they were fully exhausted either for the year. So, but I can check that. I don't think that they were fully exhausted, though.
Will there be an opportunity to pay those funds out at this point, or it's?
We're still monitoring that just because of all of the change so quickly. Staffing, as you've heard, went down, but we're certainly looking at when will that be addressed? And if not soon, we're looking at shifting to other opportunities for our customers because we're at a time where they just can't wait.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Commissioner, there was $113 million left in the LIHEAP fund. What happened was the fund is still there. They got rid of all the people, who would,
Yes.
um,
Could help administer and manage it.
yes.
So it's just sitting there right now. Yeah.
Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Perry. That was helpful information. And, I'm thinking in my mind and doing some benchmarking, if you will. I know that DC, Pepco, for instance, put residential solar on low-income rooftops, no cost. And customers are paying nominally $15 a month, and they're getting refunds at the end of the year. And programs like LIHEAP grant programs are kind of a cost and a payment out of the account, whereas these deployments, even community solar, for instance, are investments that can play long-term return, efficiency, as well as get people out from under the burden of these fluctuating rates. Is there any opportunity in this jurisdiction to consider those kinds of programs, and what would it take?
Absolutely. Oh, it's a great one. You want
That's a great question. Sure. So myself and our community solar folks have been really working hard on trying to understand what the challenges for low-income customers is making that subscription fee in community solar, right? And in DC, that's what piece gets funded for them from the DC SEU, that because subscriber organizations, the large community solar facility, charges customer a fee, right? And then they get a credit. So that net number is pretty small. But if we can fund that subscription fee from some of the other, maybe the sustainable utility funds or some of the other things to help those customers get the full benefit of that community solar credit, that would be really beneficial to low-income customers. So we're working with our solar team. We just actually had a meeting yesterday to talk about how we can match up our low-income customers with community solar, providers, right? Because I know in Delaware, they have like a 15% requirement that those solar developers need to have of low-income customers. And maybe we can do better than the 15%, right, as a state and help more low-income customers. So the education on that is really critical because it's sort of, I think the comment yesterday was sort of, it's like a new thing, like third-party suppliers were years ago, right? The customer education on how that can benefit them really needs to be very front and center so customers understand what benefit they can get from community solar. But I think the key in the whole process is helping those customers, those low-income customers, get funded for the subscription fee like they do in DC in the Solar for All program. That's how those customers benefit the most from the community solar bill credit.
Okay, but in DC, it wasn't really a one-off low income here in the next community. They went through whole communities, houses that were next to each other in the entire community and installed solar at no cost. And all of those low income ratepayers now have benefited as well. The utility has benefited from the energy generated and put back onto the grid. I think that would be very fruitful to evaluate as a prospect and potential for this jurisdiction, because I'm more interested from where my background comes that we can make an investment that pays a return as opposed to giving a grant that just goes away and it has to be replenished again.
Absolutely. Yes.
One request, and then, Mr. Chair, I turn it back to you. Ms. Perry, could we get an update to the graph that you prepared for us at the end of last year, which I believe was showing DPL's bad debt on the balance sheet versus time?
Absolutely.
That is a trend that I would really like to track as it relates to the rate fluctuations. But thank you very much for the presentation as well for all of the support you've provided to the community under these pressured circumstances. Mr. Chair, that concludes my remarks.
So to take off where Commissioner Gray left off, it seems to me that perhaps we should consider, or you all should consider, a pilot program in a community somewhere and base it upon the DC operation. And if it is successful, I would be willing to guess that it would beget new children elsewhere. And of course, I guess the financial issue that Sue talked about is probably the key. And we need to have a business-like proposition where it's going to come out to everyone's benefit. But that would be
Absolutely.
a big step forward, I think.
And we will bring that back. As Sue mentioned, we are assessing the best way to structure this for different communities and customers, and then also looking at sort of combining community solar with battery storage and what benefits that would create as well. So we'll bring that back.
Mr. Hardigan.
Chairman Winslow, just wanted to add, we're looking forward to working with the company, especially on the communications piece. I think you had suggested previously, like during storm situations, we relay information that we receive from the company, but, we can certainly do that in terms of, tips and to customers as well on our social media sites. So looking forward to that. I did want to mention that today is Administrative Professionals Day, so I wanted to publicly recognize Crystal and her team. Anyone that's worked in an office setting knows that it's really the admin team that makes sure things hum. So thank you, Crystal, for the work that your team does. And our next meeting is May 14th.
Commissioner Conaway? Commissioner Korea, I'm sorry.
As I see it, and I have worked with the electric company and in the electric company for many, many, many years, as you can see, that all my hair has gone. So that was part of the customer complaints in old days. As I see it, there are two aspects. One is financial, bills and $800 and $400 and solar and what have you. That's one aspect. I remembered well, and I also remembered this time in last 4 months, that another very strong aspect of the issue that was raised in December, January, and February was information. So and you are looking at all the programs you are doing and customers education and everything was very, very impressive. So thank you for all you are doing. At the same time, I would say that push it two more steps up and do it more and do it more and do it more. There is never enough communication to convince customers. They will listen, but they will not agree with you because part of that is emotional. Yes. Hey, my bill was $200. Now you are charging me $800. But if you look around the world, every part, like from Wawa, down to Blue Hen Mall and Dover Mall and Christiana Mall, everything has gone up. Everything has gone up tremendously. And that affects everyone. So I would say that the best thing is to keep hitting information after information after information. I remember having gone to many homeowners associations and actually making a presentation. I remember having gone to Rotary clubs and explaining them that, hey, your business will be affected because there's a change in the king has gone in Iran and oil prices have gone up and therefore it is affecting us and what have you. So I would say that please, and you're doing a lot. I'm very, very happy and you are doing that and thank you for that again. But please keep. There are two aspects of it, two sides of the coin, financial, informational. Now, winning over emotions is a very difficult work because we are not psychologists. We are business people. You are business people. And we look at the things in a business way. But still, I think you've got to hire quite many of them psychologists on your staff.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Korea. I really appreciate the input there. Absolutely. We will continue on.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments by anyone? Thank you all yes, Wayne?
So I'm sitting here and remember that this month of April is National Safe Dig Month. So you should call 811 before you dig to try to minimize damage to underground utilities. And keep the public safe, especially when it comes to gas.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.